Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's Kevin Jackson Show. I was thinking about something, and because I was on the road, and I was traveling. Well, on the road traveling, and I was reading. Where was that? Some restaurant, and they were like, our food is prepared with the all the care that you could give to baby chicks. And, we have the gluten-free, homegrown, free-range, blah, blah, blah. And every restaurant now, the food has a story. And it was an eclectic Mexican place, taco joint. It's tacos. And literally there was a story about how they select their pork and how they select their chicken and their fish. And nobody gets harmed in the making of their food, and they don't use preserve. And I honestly don't remember. I should have recorded it, but that wasn't enough. So then I was at another place, and I got a breakfast sandwich, and on the back, it talked about the care. It said something about these sandwiches are made with love. And it went on to describe the making of the sandwich and the selection of the ingredients. And I'm thinking, you know what? I just want you to tell me, man, we got jihadi chickens that go out and they kill the chickens for us. And then we just go pick up the dead. And then we serve those chickens. And then the jihadi chickens say, bring in some more. And the pork is made from the worst pigsty ever, and these pigs are not raised, and humane. Don't give me the story, because you know what? No offense, I don't believe the story. I think the story is a fabrication. All like these people that go, it's all grown natural, grown in the neighborhood. Good. I hope you support people that grow your fruits and vegetables in your neighborhood, because I would think it would be cheaper. The other people have to ship, and when they have to ship, they ship you things that they take a tomato off the vine when it's green, so that by the time it gets to you, it's done its own fermentation and it becomes red. You could pluck it right off the vine and bring it over and say, here you go. Your sales pitch should be, this is the freshest stuff you're ever gonna get, not grown in some crap hole neighborhood 5,000 miles away. You would think that would be okay. Now, don't get me wrong, exotic fruits and things like that that you got to get from other places, I get it. But you want to tell me cucumbers and tomatoes, oh, these are organic and these are this. It is a ruse. Everybody's got a story. I wish somebody were honest and said, we don't know where the heck we get our stuff from. We get the cheapest stuff that we can find on that day to keep our prices low. Oh, I like that. You know what I like about food? Here, y'all, if I ever had a restaurant, let me tell you, you'd love it. Let me tell you what I do. I do not use the butt of an onion or the inside, the tomato where it gets all white. Like if I want vine ripened tomatoes that look like steak, where the meat is all the way through. And the part where the stem connects, I cut that off about an inch, 3/4 of an inch from the end, because I don't want any part of that stem as part of my tomato. You would only get the freshest slices. Lettuce is good and leafy on the outside. The inside is is this really kind of compact core. When I see that in a salad, I know you're ripping me off. I know then you're just about the money. The finest restaurants will not serve you a tomato that isn't made of, that's just total meat. They won't serve you onion that's got that layer around it that's real flimsy. But y'all know what I'm talking. There are people who are cooks who know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is, restaurants should just serve delicious food. But no, the hipsters have taken over. This place that I was at was like a hipster joint. It was a taco joint, so they served the tacos in those little, valley dishes, which is cool. But have you seen these latest? I mean, everybody's got a stupid story or some gimmick. I'll give you an example. There's a restaurant that serves coffee in a test tube. I'm not lying. You order coffee, it comes in a test tube in a cup, and then you pour. They don't give you a carafe. I don't know if these people realize it, but Pyrex is not exactly the best, thing for keeping heat in. So they serve it in a test tube. And there was a restaurant. You order a Caesar salad. I'm not joking. It's a single leaf, lettuce leaf, with a piece of toast that wraps around the lettuce leaf that makes it look like a napkin. All right, and then the salad dressing is on the side. And everybody's got a gimmick, some sort of a gimmick. The one restaurant I noted had a tea, and it came. I'm not kidding, guys. It comes in a beaker, a scientific beaker. Sugar is in the smaller beaker that cream is in the smaller beaker, and then they've got a coffee cup beside it. And all you do is you pour the tea from a beaker, dip your sugar or your cream into it's ridiculous, but everybody's got their gimmick. The gimmick can't just be good food. And we cook the chickens that were nearest to us. We grab the vegetables that were nearest to us. There's got to be some sort of a gimmick. And here's the thing. I see this as sort of a metaphor for life. The hipsters so want to be cool. These millennials, they so want to be involved. They so want to believe they're avant-garde when it comes to politics, when it comes to life in general. And all they're doing is they're remaking life and trying to put some kind of little fancy spin on it so you believe, whoa, check out this experience. There was a thing I saw on TV where they stuck in a piece of bacon inside the middle of an egg yolk that had been poached. That's it. There was one restaurant that served bread inside of a mitt to keep the bread warm. The mitt. So in other words, when you grab the bread out, you're going to also be grabbing some fabric off the end of the mitt. It's ridiculous. They've all got some sort of cheesy story. And it goes back to the set. I call it a set because it was comedy to me, that I did on gluten, that said they've convinced us that gluten's bad for us. Gluten's probably bad for 2% or 1% or 0.1% of the people in the world. And they've convinced us that it's bad for us. So everything's now hipster. We're all gluten-free and free range and all this. It's ridiculous. It's as ridiculous as the millennials. Anyway, folks, we got to take a short break. Glad you guys are with me. The Kevin Jackson Show, kjradio.com. Back in a minute.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, everybody? Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. All roads lead back to Barack Insane Obama. kjradio.com is where you can listen to the show 24/7. I hope you tell people about it. 844-551-8255. I encourage you to call. Talk to me. Anyway, all roads lead back to Barack Obama. I've warned you. I told you folks. Carl, you're listening. I know you're listening. Are you starting to get it? Carl, seriously, send me a note. Are you starting to get it? Carl was one of these guys. He's a great listener, listens to the program. I'm not making fun of him at all. I want people to understand that. I want you guys to call. I want you to talk to me. I want you to write to me. Carl wrote to me. He says, Kevin, nothing's going to happen with this stuff. Let me tell you something, folks. The other day, Christopher Wray threatened to resign if Andrew McCabe was forced out of the FBI. A day later, Andrew McCabe was forced out of the FBI. By whom? Christopher Wray. How many signs can I give you? Oh. Look, I'm not God. I'm not going to play God. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express, and even if I did, I cannot be the Almighty. But I'll tell you this, I'm pretty close. When it comes to telling you what's going to happen in 2018, God is speaking through me. I am a vessel. Can't you feel the hand of the Lord on you right now? Oh my goodness, you chuckle with me. Come on, Ed, let's all laugh together. We don't need a laugh track for this. This is amazing times. Look, I was listening to a Dave Chappelle comedy deal, and I love Dave Chappelle. Dave really has a lot of conservative views, but I'm going to tell you, he said right on the show he voted for Hillary Clinton. He says, who were my choices, which showed me Dave is not as bright as I think he is. By the way, the guy comedically is brilliant. The last two sets I've seen Dave do, not sets, but shows that he's done, they've been brilliant up to the point where he starts to ridicule Trump. And one of the things that he says in his comedy set, he says, Donald Trump's making all these promises. He's going to go change Washington. What's he going to do? That's what essentially Dave says. What's he going to do, Dave? I suggest that videotape that you taped for the show on Netflix was done a year and a half ago. What do you mean, what's he going to do? The dude has changed politics. You are witnessing something that guys like Carl didn't think were going to happen. Do I need to tell you what happened again? Christopher Wray, 3 days ago or so, threatened to resign if Andrew McCabe was forced out of the FBI. Then Andrew McCabe was forced out of the FBI by the very guy who said he would resign if the guy was forced out. Christopher, where's your resignation? Oh, Christopher, is this thing on? Folks, you are watching history. I'm not talking about just the fact that history is history when the moment that passed is history. I'm talking about getting this government back. Christopher Wray is yet another swamp snake. He's threatened to leave, which, by the way, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But he stays there. And when this FISA memo, the day that the Republicans vote and say, you know what, we're going to put this thing out there, Christopher Wray himself says to McCabe, you're out of here. And you want to know why? Because he knows how bad it is. McCabe is leaving his job before the date of his anniversary. I'm talking a month. March the 1st was supposed to be the day that this swamp creature, Andrew McCabe, was going to retire. He announced this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I'm going to get out of here. He said he was waiting on his 25th anniversary, and I'm going to use my finger quotes here, of service so he could get his retirement pension. As if this clown deserves his pension. Oh, hear me now. I'm going to preach. Somebody get my other Bible. Somebody get my big Bible. Oh, man. Huffington Post reported this. FBI Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe is planning to retire in the coming months amid accusations from Republicans of partisanship and bias within the law enforcement agency. WAPO reported that McCabe plans to step down in a few months when he is fully eligible for pension benefits. This is expected to happen in early March. McCabe has weathered GOP criticism of the FBI over a year, with Republicans questioning the agency's handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, and more recently, the probe into possible collusion between President Trump's campaign and Russia. McCabe served as former FBI Director James Comey's deputy and has been repeatedly questioned about the agency's actions during the 2016 presidential race. So I want to just stop for just a second and tell you, in advance, he says, hey, I'm done. I'm going to step down. Now, if you go look at the linear nature of this investigation, McCabe stays on the Hillary Clinton campaign until a week before the presidency, before the vote. He had done all he could do. He'd run all the interference he could run. Reported to James Comey. By the way, look at how the FBI broke protocol in testifying in having Hillary testify. All the things leading up to this, then she loses. Then enter Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. You say, holy cow, we didn't expect this. What do we do now? DEFCON 4. DEFCON 1, whichever one's the worst. You know what I'm talking about. And they're trying to figure out, what do we do now? This guy made it. We are exposed. Just think of that. And now let's bring it back to the forefront, back to where this guy says, I'm going to wait around, get my 25 years, get my pension, and I'm done. Then the FISA memo, which, by the way, was generated because the Democrats wanted the Inspector General to look into how Hillary Clinton was being cheated in the election, collusion with the Russians. The Democrats cut their own throats across the board. Now I want you to think of this. I want you to imagine this for just a second. Imagine what a dyed-in-the-wool partisan hack like Andrew McCabe has done to you, conservative people, over the last 25 years of his service, so-called service. What do you think he's done? He doesn't like Trump. Okay, we get it. What else doesn't he like? What does he like? Does he like terrorists? Does he like illegals? Does he like ruining the Second Amendment? What is he about? Let me tell you what he's about. He's ideologically linked to Barack Obama, Comey, Hillary Clinton, all of them. They are ideologically bent. They're cut the same way. That's the way you get your 25 years and you get to skate for the rest of your life at the taxpayer's expense. That's what McCabe is about. This guy, we couldn't get rid of him fast enough. And let me tell you something, this is huge. I'll explain why.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Boy, McCabe's firing has just set off the fireworks. And DC is scared to death. There are so many things I could to connect the dots. So many ways to connect the dots here that it's really going to be a fun show. This hour is truly, I'm looking at all the different sound bites that we gathered. Thank you guys for doing that. And there's so many pictures developing here. So the first, it's not in any particular order, but you can see the strategy of the left. They do not want you to see what's going on here. CNN all over the airport when I was flying home said, pressure from President Trump causes McCabe to resign. That was it stayed fixed at the bottom. Every interview, whether it was Wolf Blitzer or whomever, I was in the airport for 4 hours. And every interview that came up, every anchor, they said the same thing. President Trump is the one. It's his fault. He's the one. He's the reason why McCabe quit. No, it has nothing to do with McCabe's actions. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what the FBI did to keep Donald Trump from getting elected and all the things they did after the fact. No, it's the pressure from Donald Trump, which, by the way, is a compliment to Donald Trump, because he's essentially saying these guys are crooked. You're not going to hear this from CNN. You're not going to hear it from these other sources. These guys are crooked. And because of his being his own media outlet, he kept the pressure on McCabe. Now, does it need to be the bottom of that thing? No, he wasn't following McCabe around, sending private investigators, putting using the FBI or any other clandestine agency against McCabe, against, a private citizen. He's saying, no, let Mueller, the person who's over the investigation, let him figure it out. And on the eve, or what should have been the eve, or, I don't know, of this FISA memo, it's starting to leak out. Suddenly McCabe, who wanted to be a career diplomat, retire in 25 years with full pension, decides, probably best for me to get out. I'm going to make you a bet. He lawyers up. Before summer, this guy will lawyer up. But here's what I want to get to. I want to get to the strategy. There's a couple of strategies at play here. Multiple. And here's the good news for you conservatives out there in Candyland, because that's right, Kevin Jackson Show delivers candy every single day. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Nothing. They have multiple things that are retreads. And let me tell you what it's doing. It's making Democrats look stupid and desperate. And oh, by the way, that certainly fits. Great description of them. So, in a quick review of, and I'm going to get back to the McCabe resignation and what that means, because it's a huge deal. But in a quick review, let me just tell you what these guys are trying to say now. They're trying to say that Donald Trump is now interfering in the investigation because he now has the ability to say, do we declassify this FISA memo or not? And the Democrats want to put pressure on Trump to say, if you declassify this, you're interfering with the so-called investigation. And so maybe we'll play that clip first, because that's McCarthy's being interviewed by Chuck Todd. And that's one of the strategies. So I want you to hear that, because I don't want you to think I'm doing this. This is these guys with this nonsense.
And that's the responsibility we have.
This memo that now the president apparently wants released, which he has the power to do on his own. He can declassify anything he wants. Do you want the president to declassify this memo that was written by Republican staff on the House Intelligence Committee?
Look, they have been doing their investigation. They found something out. I've gone down. I've read it. The committee voted. This is the process. They voted to allow members to read it. They have the ability to vote to move it forward, just like and then it would go to the executive branch.
Why are they afraid to send this to the Justice Department for review?
Well, aren't we separate but co-equal? Don't we have a view? Don't we have the responsibility for oversight? And the Justice Department will be able to see it, because you have the executive branch and you have the legislative branch. And as the legislative branch looks at it, it will send it to the executive branch beforehand. They have the approval whether to declassify and put it forward. So they will have the opportunity if the committee.
Do you want the president to declassify this memo?
Having read this memo, I think it would be appropriate that the public has full view of it.
And you don't believe this is somehow the president tampering with the investigation? How does this not look like that if he does?
Because it has nothing to do with the president right now. It is the committee doing their work, who have found something, voted as a committee of the whole. And remember why the Intel Committee was created, based upon what was happening in the executive branch from the CIA and FBI and others. So they have oversight of it. They made a vote for the public, or for the members of Congress to look at it. Now they can vote to send it to the executive branch, right, and they could have say of whether to release it.
So now, welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. The president doing his job, letting Congress do its job, just as he did with DACA, is somehow obstruction? I love how Chuck Todd tried to frame that out. Should he be involved? Should this happen? McCarthy's like, what do you mean? That's the process, dude. That's the constitutional. Well, shouldn't he throw Chuck Todd is essentially saying, shouldn't they throw that out? I mean, why are they doing why would he release this information? He's releasing this information because this is what the Democrats wanted. Be careful what you wish for, ladies. I love this, man. I'm just telling you, can you imagine, as I said earlier, McCabe in this FBI agency has been in operation in the deep state for decades. And we are just figuring this out. Now, just picture for 1 second. If Congress were controlled by the Democrats, do you think they would let this FISA memo out? If Hillary Clinton had been elected president, do you believe they would let this FISA memo out when it hit her desk? If you don't understand how important it was that Donald Trump was elected, and that I personally believe, it isn't like I'm guessing here. God had his hand in this, because if you're a Christ follower, you believe God has his hand in everything. But let me tell you something. What you're witnessing here is a miracle, because there's no way we learn of this. That's what the Democrats were counting on. How else could you be so brazen? With men like McCabe at the helm and Comey, no wonder Barack Obama just said, without even hesitation, yeah, I had a scandal-free administration. Let me put it another way. If Bernie Madoff had a McCabe and a Comey, he'd still be considered one of the best financial minds on the planet. Top official, FBI official, removed from his post as deputy director. They warned McCabe of conflicts of interest. They said the FBI issued an internal memo to McCabe saying, look, your wife is directly involved with Hillary Clinton. She's taken $700,000 from the campaign. This is not going to look good. You need to recuse yourself from this investigation. And you know when he did it a week before the election. After he'd run interference, made sure that all the language that wouldn't lead to any type of indictment of Hillary Clinton, he made sure Peter Strzok didn't keep any notes or anything involving Hillary Clinton. He made sure that all the skids were greased. And then they lost. They thought, no matter what, as long as Hillary Clinton, the cloud of doubt leaves Hillary Clinton by election time, we'll be good. And they did everything they could to walk that line of, the public will be okay with this, etc., because they made it, we've got another series of emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Remember that? And that turned into nothing. Was it nothing? Of course it was something. We found out that there were more incriminating emails on his laptop. Now, I won't say there were more, because we didn't get all of Hillary Clinton's, but there were many on his laptop. Many. And these people dismissed it. Hillary Clinton, if we had seen her testimony before the FBI, that woman would be in prison today. She's losing it. I'm telling you right now, that lady's losing it. Many people in D.C. are losing it. And McCabe leaving is only the beginning, folks. They call it terminal leave for a reason, because he's dead. He is D.C. dead. No longer reporting to the FBI. And the fake news media spins it as pressure from Trump. It was pressure from the truth. And fortunately, this truth was discovered before the American taxpayers were on the hook for his pension. I want you to think about this guy, after everything he's done, after treasonous, seditious acts. You know what he's thinking about? He's thinking about his money. He's thinking about, look, I got to get out of here with the skin of my teeth. So I'm going to just retire, and everybody just says, hey, this is okay. Hey, good and faithful servant McCabe, you go your way. That's what he was thinking. The timing, folks, of this stepping down doesn't surprise anybody. His dismissal was only a matter of time. There's no way it should have not happened. It should have happened already before. Conflict of interest, he dismissed it. Text messages of McCabe now were missing, and I suspect those messages were found. So, as I said, when does he lawyer up? Comey's lawyered up. Strzok is lawyered up. How many other Comey-era FBI personnel are going to fall when the truth is learned about their seditious activities? I say the dominoes have already started falling.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
And what they're putting forth is a total misrepresentation. It is false. And they're putting it out there as if it is factual and then saying, we're going to show this to the American people, but we're not going to show the rebuttal to it by the Democrats. And this isn't not to be politicized. This is about fact. It's about evidence, about data. It's not about making up a false memo based on a false premise that the chairman hasn't even read and then to put it out there. So, of course not. Well,
then why are they so anxious to release it?
Because it's not even true. It's not even true. They have made up a memo that isn't even true, and they're lying to the American people.
So what are you going to do about it?
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. I love that interview with. It's not even true. They're just lying. Oh my gosh, you can't believe it. God, Nancy Pelosi is scared to death. Scared to death. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. kjradio.com, 844-551-8255. Imagine being a Democrat right now. I would love to be a fly on the wall where any Clinton exists. Yeah. While Hillary Clinton uses her last days of freedom to read from Peter Wolf's fiction, Fire and Fury, on the Grammy, she should be asking herself, what happened to get me to here? Yeah. What of Obama? You think Barack Obama's getting restful sleep? There's not going to be any plausible deniability on this. And let me tell you, because I know that there are people out there going, Kevin, it's that time again, isn't it? Come on, everybody. You ready? I told you so. The Barack Obama in 2018 will have his reputation so sullied, there are going to be people that hate to admit they voted for him. And let me tell you right now, there's some people listening to this program who hate they voted for him. They know it. Admit it. I know you're not going to do it because I wouldn't do it. I would be afraid. I would be a little embarrassed. But here's what I would do. I will tell you, if you believe in what I'm doing and you understand I'm not going to ridicule you, send me a note and say, Kevin, I'm one of those people who voted for Barack Obama and I'm embarrassed. I'm curious because they exist. Let me tell you something. When I'm out and about, I did 2 speaking engagements in the last week and a half or whatever. And I'm going to tell you something. People come up to me afterwards and go, Kev, I'm one of those guys you talked about. I'm one that's embarrassed. I'm embarrassed I voted for Hillary. I'm embarrassed I voted for Obama. I'm embarrassed I voted Democrat. I will never vote Democrat again. I'm hearing that. How many people are embarrassed that they're a Republican right now? If you're a Republican, let me tell you what you are. If you're a conservative, you are ecstatic. You finally feel like you're being vindicated. You've been lied about. You've been called all kinds of names. Imagine somebody says, that so-and-so beats his wife. You know, like it was that movie Gone Girl, I think it was, where everybody accused Ben Affleck's character of having killed his wife. And she plotted it all herself. And then at the very end, she comes back and everybody's like, whoa, he didn't kill his wife. But leading up to that point, you wife killer, you need to burn in heck, and all this. They're just screaming at this guy every time he goes out. It was kind of a take on the Scott, what's-his-face story where he killed Lacey, the Scott Peterson, right? So, you know what you've been? You've been accused of killing your spouse. Because I know a lot of ladies listen to the program. Thank you, ladies. But you've been accused of killing your spouse, and you know you're innocent. You're going, what are y'all talking about? And your spouse has set up their own murder, make the disappearance, make it look like a murder, and they planted it on you. And suddenly they come back, and everybody who scowled at you, who yelled at you, who thought badly of you is going, I'm really sorry. I'm just oh my goodness, sorry, Kev. Geez. And you're sitting there going, you're getting all sister on them. Yeah. What you got to say now? And you deserve it. You go straight up ghetto because you deserve to do that. See, you've been vindicated. So I'll ask you again. Do you know Republicans and conservatives who are going, geez, it's terrible to be a Republican or conservative right now, man. No, every one of us is out there going, we told you. We've been telling you these people are liars. We've been telling you they're crooked, etc. We've been warning you, and you just dismiss us. Well, now you're going to get a mouthful, not a lipful. Because you got some big lips, baby. But you know what I'm saying, folks? It's your time. Quit hiding. Get out of the shadows. If you haven't come out, I don't know what else is going to take to get you out. Holy cow. Barack Obama's gotten no restful sleep. McCabe is in serious trouble, and his troubles are just beginning because McCabe is a precursor to what the Democrats can expect, and he knows what's coming. I told you guys, 2018 is going to be a horrible year for the Democrats. January is over. Well, it's not quite. President Trump is still on rock star status. I want you to understand what's going on here from a political perspective. You've got Donald Trump, who is fighting off wolves with his left hand. Just he's slicing and dicing these fools, these clowns. Think of him as killer clowns, okay? He's just slicing these killer clowns, cutting off their big old feet, where they can't walk, then they topple. Boom, 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 boom. And on the right side, he's building an economy. Things are just progressing. Little by little. No big deal. Moving along. There's practical peace. I saw a thing where they said North Korea is in check. I don't remember. It was like 2 or 3 places that are hot zones in the world are starting to come to the table, negotiate. Iran was one. They were starting to go, you know what? We got to start paying attention to this guy. Because our media has been trying to hammer Donald Trump. And under normal circumstances, you know what the world has seen? The world has watched as conservatives and Republicans just go, oh, and they just roll over to get their belly scratched. And Donald Trump says, I ain't rolling over for any of you clowns. I got these guys on the left. They are defeating themselves. You want to know why Donald Trump doesn't have to fight hard against the left? Because they are kicking their own butts. They want, I heard that Asian guy, Ted Lieu. Donald Trump better not fire Robert Mueller. Why does he need to? And I'm not going to get into it this hour, but next hour I want to talk about one of the strategies that the left is using that is so ridiculous. They have a ridiculous strategy for immigration. They have a ridiculous strategy for what they're going to try to be is the next thing that they try to put on Trump. And let me tell you something, folks. Trump doesn't need Teflon. He can wear beautiful Italian silk suits. And they can throw as much crap at him as they want because he doesn't need Teflon. He's got a, what they call it, that beam in Star Wars, like you push the button and it just sets up a whole protective thing around you. That's what he's got. It gets nowhere near the suit. That's what I want you. Forget it hitting the suit and rolling off. It gets nowhere near. Trump is in fine wool silk blend, and he walks along in these beautiful suits, not even thinking about it because he's got this big bubble of protection around him called the truth. See, Bill Clinton needed his Teflon suits because he got a lot of crap thrown at him, but it was legit. Barack Obama as well. But now that government that we have known existed, the deep state within our own government that is plotting against us, all it's looking to do is grab money from us in the most clever ways, is now about to end. Serious trouble. Trump is at rock star status. Left has been proven to have nothing but lies. Comey and Strzok lawyered up. FISA memo coming out. But if Democrats think January was bad, wait till February. Be happy February is a short month, Democrats, because they've reached DEFCON 1. It will be the worst month of the year up until November. And to say I told you so is not enough. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a misstatement. Democrats were warned, folks, multiple times. But the days, plural, of reckoning are approaching. And many conservative Americans, we await our comeuppance. To see Democrats finally go down in flames is going to be a sight for sore eyes. And we aren't wishing any bad karma. This is not about us wishing bad karma. This is karma. We hadn't wished this on them. We told them. McCabe's troubles, by the way, are the FBI's trouble. And the fallout that's going to devastate the Bureau and others is going to force the FBI to clean up its act.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
The Democrats, I think, are laying the groundwork to lose another election.
You think they could lose the House again?
Yes, I think they could.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was Chris Matthews questioning George Will. And George Will's giving him the truth. I don't get Chris Matthews saying, do you think they could lose the House again? They've already lost the House. They're not getting the House back. Wishful thinking on their part. The Democrats could get as many as 40 seats or something like that. You remember we talked about this? Chris Wallace saying it? Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a Kevin Jackson Show. Wishful thinking on behalf of the Democrats. They think they've got a shot. They want, look, if you don't want to be well, I don't want to say bullied because the Republicans aren't bullying them, but the Democrats want to believe that they're not the bullies. And now they're starting to show how weak they are because they're like, we can still win. We can win in 2018. Y'all just wait and see. We'll get beyond all this FISA mess. Where every Democrat in the food chain is complicit. And every other one by association is complicit. Man, going down, people. McCabe is... we look at McCabe because he was, deputy director of the FBI? Big deal, right? James Comey was the director of the FBI. Big deal, right? It's bigger than them. Or than they, I should say. It's bigger. We're talking about the Clintons. We're talking about Obama. We're talking about all of the big wigs of Obama. And we're talking, look, Susan Rice, we're talking Loretta Lynch, we're talking Eric Holder, we're talking about all the power structure, the entire Obama administration. And then guess what? We might have to go back into Fast and Furious. We might have to go back into these other things. And you know what Donald Trump has done? He's left most of these swamp rats in place. Because you know what? Even a swamp rat has a conscience at some point. Some of these swamp rats aren't nearly as dialed in as the left wants you to believe. They're not nearly as much as the ideologues. Some of them are actually being jolted out of their stupors. I know that's hard for you to believe. You're thinking, oh, Kevin, these people, they have no conscience. You're exactly right. Most of them don't. But there are a few of them going, I can't believe we did this. I was under the illusion we were correct. We were the righteous ones. I was under the delusion that the right, the conservatives, were the people who were ideologues, and they were against us for all the wrong reasons. And you know what I'm finding out? I'm finding out that our leadership, the people that we trusted, are nothing but liars. Believe it or not, there are people on the left who have believed the hype that Hillary Clinton wants to help women and wants to help children, that Barack Obama wants to help blacks, wants to help Latinos, wants to help women, whatever. Give me your special interest voting block, and I will tell you there are Democrats waking up to the idea every single day right now that the only thing those people wanted is power and money, and they wanted it from somebody else. Let me ask you, do you think you're going to wake up one morning and go, boy, we conservatives, I can't believe that we wanted righteousness and we really wanted to raise the ocean for everybody, and I found out that that's not true of conservatism. No conservative will ever have to utter those words because you've got a core. A moral core guided by the ethics that you've learned probably through Judeo-Christian values and good my grandmother would call it mother wit. That means the wit and the experience that your mom put on you, that your common sense, what your family values. You're not going to wake up and go, I'm shocked that my common sense family values, Judeo-Christian values, have been rocked to their core. But Democrats wake up every single day and find that out. Oh, you may find out somebody's crooked. Oh, so-and-so did this or that. Your foundation isn't shaken. You just go, that's a strayed Republican, conservative, whatever. Christian, we're fallible. But you're never going to get rocked to your core. Democrats get rocked to their core. I want you to think about all their idols. Hillary Clinton, the idol of a bunch of old hags, right? They're rocked to their core. Many of them are. Some of them are sticking with her because they're ideologically attached. It would ruin who they are. It would ruin their own identity because they identify through her. That's why they have to stick with her. There are many blacks who are forced to stick with the lying skunk that Barack Obama is. But guess what? They're going to find out he's exactly what he is, exactly what we said. There are many of them who are finding out just how incompetent that guy is, and they don't want to accept it. He's got the intellect, the economic intellect of a baboon, and quite frankly, he's got the political intellect outside of getting elected of a chimpanzee. Oh, Kevin, I know. I had groans when I said that in an audience the other day. They were like, it's a monkey reference. Yeah. And I apologize to the monkeys. Barack Obama's stupid. And you know what Trump is showing? He's showing the world. You believed in this clown. You believed in him. He's done nothing. He can't make you better, and he didn't make America better. Trump went over to Davos and rocked it. You want to know why? Because he knows what America means to the world. There is no second, everybody else is second place. There is nobody that can ascend to this throne because this is a God-given position that America has been put in. And the reason is because God looks at our country and says they can overcome anything. That's why we're number one. And that's why we have to export excellence and not the crap that these leftists had us exporting. Their foundations are rocked, folks, and it's not over. Every single day, academics get their foundations rocked. Holly weirdos get their foundations rocked. And you know what you do? You continue to perform. You go out there, you start businesses, you hire people, you do it by the book. You raise the best kids. You marry the best men and women. That's what conservatives do. We set the standards. And the left can't stand it. And you're never going to wake up. You may wake up challenging your own morality, but you will never challenge your moral core. That's why you're beautiful people. That's why I love having you around. Woo, I've been lecturing. I feel a little tired.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
I'm Dave Chappelle. And I just wanted to remind the audience that the only thing more frightening than watching a black man be honest in America is being an honest black man in America.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Honest Black Man in America. Kevin Jackson. It's Kevin Jackson Show. kjradio.com. On demand, 24/7, anytime you want it. I hope you tell people about it. Let them know if you're having fun on the show, you're learning something. You know, I don't listen to other people's shows. I get snippets generally. And I watch, interviews of different people. Dan, one of my buddies, Dan Bongino, he's getting a lot of interview time with this FISA stuff. And he's got supposedly the #2 show on digital format. And Dan's a good guy. He's one of the sharpest guys. He sat in for Hannity a time or two. I'll probably do that soon. Sharp guy. Knows his stuff. But I will put this radio show up against anybody. I would. And the thing about it is I feel like, honestly, people, because people listen to my show and they'll see me out and about and they'll say, Kevin, man, I love your show. And you know what I like most? And I'm like, no, I'm curious. What do you like? And they tell me, it's like we're just sitting around talking. We're in the living room having a conversation. I go, that's exactly what I'm trying to create. I have to conjure you up because I don't see you. But when I'm visualizing us just sitting around talking, I'm visualizing us having this conversation and you wanting to get answers because you know what? I'm curious about certain things. And that's how we prep the show. And there's a pretty good sized team involved with this, believe it or not. Technical producers, segment producers, then there are production people that have to get the show ready for for terrestrial. So I don't know if you're listening to us at a particular market or they're getting it ready for digital distribution. Now everybody says, Kevin, the show will do much better if you put a camera in there and you do, people. And I'm like, look, I get it. People want to see you, Howard Stern type stuff, and all that. But I'm going, until we can get something different. I don't feel like, I'm cute. I ain't gonna lie. I'm pretty, I got more than a face for radio, but I don't see the big deal. Well, that's why Shapiro does so well. Well, good for him. Good for Ben. Happy for him. Anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. Kevin Jackson Shows what you are listening to. If you do want to please contact us. We love it. My producers love getting mail. They do. They read it. And then we sometimes play it back. I'll talk to you guys about different subjects if it's of interest. If you call, we'll play the clip. We will. I want to hear from you. 844-551-8255. If you haven't jotted that number down, for shame on you. Oh man! So I was speaking at an educational conference, and it was about winning. What do we need to do to win? And Jesse Waters was the keynote, and I'm good for him. But there were some really interesting people there. I'm not saying Waters wasn't. I personally wasn't that interested in Jesse, giving inside baseball. Kimberly Guilfoyle's dating a lot. Navy SEALs like her a lot. And there people get a chuckle. Okay, congratulations. Kimberly's single. She's certainly really nice. Some people think she's really hot. Some people think she's just okay. Some people maybe less. I don't know. But really, that's you come to an educational conference. You're in VIP, and that's what you want to impart. Anyway, no offense against Jesse. That would have been of no consequence, no interest to me. I mean, the average person in the crowd was 60 years old. I'm going to say. So, Kimberly's dating habits. Yeah, well, that's inside baseball. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about this hour. I want to talk about the strategies of the Democrats. The strategies. So one strategy has to do with chain migration, and Kirsten Gillibrand had this to say about chain migration on The View.
And now President Trump has a new proposal on the table, a path to citizenship for dreamers, about 1.8 million dreamers, so more than we thought before, and $25 billion for a wall. Would you vote for that?
No, his proposal is going to really end family reunification as we know it. When I look at this issue of our dreamers, these are kids who came to our country with their parents when they were young. They know no other country but the United States as their home. They may not even speak a different language. They love this country. They are college kids. They are serving in our military. They're business owners. They have families. And to rip them apart is contrary to the core values of this nation. Our diversity is our strength. The fact that this is a country founded by immigrants is not lost. This is a country founded by immigrants, and it's what makes our economy grow. It's what makes our communities vibrant. It's certainly at the heart and soul of New York.
Do you agree with Nancy Pelosi when she says he wants to make America white again, and that's what this is about?
I think a lot of President Trump's rhetoric is racist. And let's be very clear. When someone uses the phrase chained migration, it is intentional in trying to demonize families, literally trying to demonize families and make it a racist slur.
All right, everybody. Did you get that term? Family reunification. Chain migration. Now, with the Democrats, you will never hear them say that. They want that to be considered, anybody catch the magic word? Racist. So, why is it racist? If it were chain migration for Russian immigrants or Polish or Swedish, which, by the way, we have some, what would they be saying then? Would it still be racist? See, this is what's interesting to me about the left when you watch their tactics. They want to take a easily understandable term, chain migration. They give it a cutesy little name, family reunification. Well, if that's the case, we're 6 degrees of separation from everybody. Shouldn't everybody be able to come? No. We're only talking about parents. Or we're only talking about grandparents. Or we're only talking about first cousins. Or we're only talking about uncles and aunts. Or we're only talking about half brothers and half sisters, step brothers and stepsisters. What are you talking about? You're talking about votes. And now Kirsten Gillibrand has been sent out to say anyone who uses the term chain migration, well, they're just being racist. That's what they are. If you say that term, you're racist. If I put together a montage and had the number of people, Dick Durbin started it, chain migration, that's got slave connotations and it's just not good. It's a terrible thing to say, chain migration. And they want it to work. Let me ask you this. Do you honestly believe that chain migration is going to be replaced with family reunification under President Trump? If you think he's going to let that happen, you're out of your mind. He's going to call it chain migration. Now, let me tell you what the left is doing. Every time he says it, they want him to appear to be racist. Every time he says chain migration, that's what this is about. That's the strategy. He doesn't want to reunify families. No, he wants to protect the families that are here. If you want to talk about family reunification, how about you start in the black neighborhoods?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
I made a secondary motion that prior to the public release of either memoranda, that the FBI and the Department of Justice have the opportunity to come and brief the entire House in a classified session on both memoranda, on the underlying facts and the underlying materials, so that the committee could make a responsible judgment as to whether the memoranda should be made public. That motion was voted down by the majority. The majority expressed a concern that something in the minority memoranda or otherwise could compromise sources and methods, and for exactly that reason, we asked that both memoranda be vetted by the FBI and the Department of Justice, but that was voted down. I spoke with the director of the FBI earlier this afternoon. He expressed his strong interest in being able to brief our committee prior to any release of these materials about concerns that the Bureau and the Department have. I relayed that interest by the director of the FBI, a appointee of President Trump, to this committee, but that was unavailing. They were not willing to meet with the director of the FBI to hear the Bureau's concerns or the Department's concerns.
All right, everybody, welcome back. That was Adam Schiff giving reasons why we shouldn't be able to see this document. It's a matter of national security. And and it was funny, Chuck Todd interviewed McCarthy, Congressman McCarthy, and he says, why is this going up to the president? Why aren't they sending this over to the FBI? So you want them to send the memo that was generated by the Inspector General, synthesized down by the Republicans with the same information that's in that document, over to the very group that's been targeting the president for the better part of a year and a half. That's the logic. It's unbelievable. So we've got a lot of things at play here. They shouldn't be releasing this FISA document because it's got too many underlying things that the public doesn't understand. And Schiff didn't say that this time because it implied that the public is too stupid. Then he says, no, it really needs to be reviewed for security, the nature of it from a security standpoint. Yeah, sort of like Hillary's emails, right? I mean, suddenly the Democrats care about national security. Then they say, well, we don't want it to go to the president because Chuck Todd said it could end up being obstruction of justice if he has to get involved, which, by the way, that is the process. That's the constitutional process being followed. And all because they don't want this information out. They're afraid of the information out. Nancy Pelosi then goes on to say it's all fake. Here's her clip. We'll play it again.
And what they're putting forth is a total misrepresentation. It is false. And they're putting it out there as if it is factual and then saying, we're going to show this to the American people, but we're not going to show the rebuttal to it by the Democrats. Now, this isn't not to be politicized. This is about fact. It's about evidence, about data. It's not about making up a false memo based on a false premise that the chairman hasn't even read and then to put it out there. Of course not.
Well, then why are they so anxious to release it?
Because it's not even true. It's not even true. They have made up a memo that isn't even true, and they're lying to the American people.
So what are you going to do about it?
False memo based on a false premise that the chairman hasn't even read. Complete nonsense. All information gathered from the very tangled web that the left weaved in order to so-called capture Donald Trump in a web of deceit. And what did they do? It backfired. And now what do they want to do? They want to cover it up. They've got some really interesting tactics. So now what? They got nothing. But they have a new strategy. And I want to share that with you. Adam Schiff says it. Cory Booker says it. 15 people. I could get you 15 clips where they say the same thing. But I want to play Schiff's version of this. Then I want to play Cory Booker. And I want you to hear the abject nonsense that these people are trying to create. Doubt in the American public. And here's what's so sad about it. Not for us. We're beaming. Happy New Year, by the way. Conservatives, Republicans, people that listen to the Kevin Jackson Show, we love you. Let me tell you what the problem is, sadly for the Democrats. Nobody believes them. Even the lamestream media is now beginning to turn. So let me let you hear this clip. This is Schiff. No, I don't want to do Booker yet. I want to do Schiff first. So good. Schiff on Trump's intent, I think is what we called it.
I want to get your reaction, to something that Michael Wolff just said on this show, because it's an issue that in a criminal case would be left to a jury, and in an impeachment case would be brought to you. And that is if there is an obstruction of justice case that is presented to the House of Representatives, and one of the elements of an obstruction of justice case is that the president ordered the firing of Robert Mueller. What Michael Wolff just said is he was saying that all the time. He was saying fire Mueller all the time. I want to fire Mueller all the time. Michael Wolff said it was like wallpaper. And so people around him did not take it seriously. And it might, in the president's mind, never have been a specific order. And since it was never carried out, he may not believe that he ever issued such an order, no matter what people quote him as saying.
Well, apparently Doug McCann took it seriously and was willing to resign rather than carry it out. So this doesn't sound like it was an idle comment. I wouldn't describe this as wallpaper based on what the New York Times and Washington Post and others have reported, but rather a fixation that goes to the president's intent.
Interesting choice of words, given that Hillary Clinton never had any intent with her leaking of the emails and all that other stuff. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. This is such an interesting and laughable theory. If there was anything that I can tell you showcases the level of desperation that the Democrats have right now, it was that clip. And let me explain. You have Ed Schultz interviewing Adam Schiff, MSNBC, and probably one of the worst Democrats, in my opinion, worse than Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi combined, Adam Schiff, on a witch hunt for the presidency, against President Trump. And they reference a book, Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, that has been completely discredited. Michael Wolff has been completely discredited. And Ed Schultz references his book and says, if there is an obstruction of justice case, it would be referred to you, Adam Schiff, of which he has this little smug look on his face. And he says, if the president ordered the firing of Mueller, then would it get to you? And then he says, Wolff says that that's what the president walked around saying. It was like wallpaper. And he goes, this is so funny. So then Schultz goes on to say, it was never taken seriously. It was never carried out. Could it be that he never felt that he issued such an order? And then Schiff comes in and says, well, Doug McCann took it seriously. Let me ask you, audience, without going to Google or anything else, because I'm going to tell you, you can't even spell McCann's name. The way it's spelled, you'd never get it. But anyway, Doug McCann, ever heard the name? Who is he? But Schiff says it as if it's Shakespeare. Well, Shakespeare said, or Da Vinci, or Denzel, right? He makes it sound like this is so authoritarian. Doug McCann took it seriously, so much so he resigned. Okay, so let's get this straight, just so we're clear, because I want to make sure. This is what we shoot for on the Kevin Jackson Show, kjradio.com, clarity. What Schiff and Ed Schultz are trying to say is Mueller, who remains in his job as special counsel, that Donald Trump should be under investigation because he may have uttered, why is Mueller still on the case? This guy should be fired. There's plenty of reasons. He's incompetent. He's looking in the wrong places. He seems to be ignoring all the real evidence. He's part of the collusion. He's certainly, we can make a case that he's part of it. And why hasn't he been fired? If the president even asked that question, well, then it was taken seriously, and that would be obstruction of justice. Doesn't matter that Mueller had. Nobody's acted upon it. Mueller hasn't been fired. Nothing. And quite frankly, it's been everything to the contrary. After all the reasons that Donald Trump has to fire Mueller, you know what he says? And too much to the chagrin of people listening to this program, he said, no, leave him there. Leave him there. He's hiring, but Mr. President Trump, he's hiring a bunch of people that support Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump says, whatever. If that's the way he wants to carry out the investigation, cool. What's happened? What's funny, if you look at the Democrats, nothing makes sense. I mean, I'm telling you, it makes sense in its chaos. It makes sense that these guys are so used to politics as usual working, they don't understand why this doesn't work. And it never will. Obstruction for something that didn't even happen.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. How much of Nancy Pelosi do you believe? How much of the Democrats do you believe now? I asked a question earlier in the broadcast. How many Democrats do you think are now questioning whether they've made the right decision to support that party? We talk a lot about the black vote, how many blacks are going to support Donald Trump in 2018, 2020, what's going to be the temperature of the water, so to speak. We've already got some glimpses of it. Supposedly, Donald Trump's blacks have doubled their support of Trump since the election. What's that number? I don't know, but I've made a prediction that in the 2020 election, Donald Trump will get somewhere between 25 to 30% of the black vote. That is Armageddon for the left. It's coming, Armageddon, but not the way Nancy Pelosi described it. How many Republicans do you believe have shifted from support of Donald Trump and said, you know what, we're not getting what we want from this guy? I know Ann Coulter's been out there going, days since the wall hasn't been built. And as much as I appreciate the wit of Ann Coulter, I can't stand when she's a one-trick pony. Ann Coulter needs to jump off the wall, so to speak, metaphorically, however you want to look at it, because the wall is going to get built. All the things that the left will tell you, he's not going to build the wall, or he's not going to do so-and-so, he's going to allow amnesty for DACA, for illegals. Not true. All nonsense. Fake news narratives. And then there are people out there that want to propagate this stuff. They want to make you believe that. Donald Trump's been the most truthful guy, the most truthful politician in the modern history. The most truthful. I'd love for somebody to tell me who else has told you exactly what he's going to do, and he does it. Now, you may not like the tactics. Donald Trump told everybody, I believe that we need to look at the situation with these DACA kids and we need to get them into the U.S. They don't understand why they're here. Now, I've been having this philosophical battle with people, some of them internal to my own staff. And they say to me, Kevin, if they put 1 million DACA people and then they bring over the people and all that and the way this thing is being described, it's going to change the voting in Texas and blah, 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 and all these other red states. And I said, the Democrats are trying to change that anyway. We should be looking at redistricting and things like that because we control the state legislatures and we should be taking this up to the Supreme Court. But if you think that DACA is going to be the way to do it, you're mistaken. Donald Trump is going to end, and here it comes, chain migration. I talked earlier about what the left wants to call that now. They got a new cutesy name for chain migration. They call it something like family repositioning or something. It's a cutesy little name. Oh, yeah, we're going to bring all these families together, but don't use that name. Don't use the other thing because that's good. That doesn't sound good. Yeah, well, it sounds good enough for me. Family reunification, that's what they call it. Trump's not going to give in on that. There will be no chain migration. There will be no more lottery visas. And there will be a wall. And the left hate it. And the reason why all of these things are going to occur is very simple. Not only do you see that Donald Trump is serious when he says, 1, we're going to defund and get rid of Obamacare. I'll ask anybody that's willing to listen. Show me where you've been closer. Did Bush? Well, Bush couldn't have done it. He was pre-Obama. Nobody's done it. We've controlled Congress. Nobody's done it. Trump said he was going to do it, and he's doing it. He said he'd do it day one. He couldn't. But everything else he talked about, taking the teeth out of it, not appropriating funds for this, telling you don't have to get the penalty, and a host of other things are all under the notion that Obamacare is gone. You can call it whatever you want at this point. It's dead. Donald Trump said he was going to pass a tax bill. I want you to understand what this man's been putting up with. A left and a right that didn't want him. Somebody did a tweet that said Donald Trump may be the first president not elected for any party. So while he's fighting off the wolves, in his internal party, the left coming at him, I would say left and right, but left and left, okay, trying to fabricate lies against him, he's marched on. And it's because of that Donald Trump's tax break, think about this. Immediately, companies gave people a bonus. April 15th is coming up. You know what's going to happen? A tsunami of another bonus. Not only are people going to get their check back, you know what they noticed? They noticed right away in their series of paychecks, they got bigger. $40, $50. To some people, that's significant. I know it's not crumbs the way Nancy Pelosi described it. Armageddon's coming. But the problem is the Democrats don't understand it's coming for them. Let's play that clip of Pelosi on taxes.
Democrats are willing partners in that process.
Absolutely. We have been willing partners.
Because they say you're not.
No. Here's their problem. This dark cloud hangs over the Capitol. It's called their tax cut. It's taken us $2 trillion additional into debt. That makes them afraid of incurring any further debt, right. So they don't want to spend money on their domestic agenda. Now, what we're fighting for is money for opioids, more money for meeting the needs of our veterans, money for the Biblical Power to Cure, the National Institutes of Health, money for pensions, which are struggling in our country. In addition to that, appropriately dealing with the disaster assistance for Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and the other areas affected by the disasters and the hurricanes and the fires.
So then why did you back off the shutdown?
All right, everybody, welcome back. At the very end, you hear Chris Cuomo say, why'd you back off the shutdown? If it added $2 trillion of debt, they're afraid to incur more debt, and you want money for all these issues, and I'm going to get into those issues in just a second, why did you back down? And Pelosi doesn't have an answer. So let's talk about what she talks about. She says the tax cut was Armageddon. And I've already explained. If that's the definition of Armageddon, millions of people want more of it. Every time Pelosi or the Democrats open their mouths, they prove to their constituents just how crazy they are. Pelosi called people getting $1,000 to $3,000 bonuses crumbs. If you think that's not going to bite them in the butt, you wait. The people getting those crumbs appreciate it. The tax cut is that tsunami wave. See, the first wave hit with the tax cuts. It was the earthquake. I should say, yeah, that was the groundswell. Because it put money right back into people's pockets immediately through these bonuses and through when the HR departments or the accounting departments got they said, oh, we can change the W-9s. So people were getting this money back. The second phase is now they're going to have their money coming back in the form of, on April 15th, in the next wave, which is the tsunami wave. And for those who hadn't seen it impact their checks just yet, that's about to occur simultaneously with getting fatter checks back from the government, their own money. Meanwhile, Pelosi says they don't want to spend money on opioids. Donald Trump made opioids one of his top things he's going to do. And by the way, where was Pelosi on opioids during Barack Obama's administration? Absent. She says they're going to spend more money on veterans. Who do you think cares more about veterans? Donald Trump or Barack Obama? I'll just leave it as rhetorical. She talked about the National Institutes of Health's power to cure, as if money's being drawn away from that. Then she got to the real thing she wants. She wants your money to fund all these Democrat pensions. The California pension, the Illinois pension, all those pension plans are broke. She wants you to fund it. And then finally, she talked about disaster relief, as if Donald Trump hasn't done anything. We did a thing on Puerto Rico where they had things in warehouses where they could have gotten the electricity back on, but they left it off in order to blame Donald Trump. That's what that Puerto Rican mayor did. I believe for San Juan, it was one of the bigger cities, left people in the cold, left them without electricity, probably, cooking with firewood in order to make a point. See, that's what the left does. Armageddon's coming, folks, but it's not coming for us. Armageddon will be very selective. Armageddon's coming for the Democrats. There's signs. I don't need to take you through them. We've already been through a lot of them today. The Democrats know they're in big trouble, and every move they currently make is a move of desperation. Every single one. Tax cuts have been good for this country and will continue to be.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I'm so happy that you are here. We are going to talk about the lexicon. I just learned, you guys may not know this, but first of all, chain migration is racist because it invokes chains. Yeah, it invokes chains. And it'll scare black people, even though chain migration is really more of a point of reference for brown people. But, it could trigger blacks. So we can't call it that. No, we have to call it, get this, family reunification. That's what the Democrats want you to believe. So when we let people come over here and stay illegally as part of DACA, we can't kick out their parents. They have to stay together. Family unification. Oh, and then we got to bring over a bunch of other people. Grandma, abuelito, abuelita. We got to bring them over. Mi tío, mi tía, uncles and aunts, cousins, you name it. So they need all these people to come over because that would be family reunification. Seems to me like we got it backwards, right? Seems like we would be sending those people back home to family reunification. If one or two people sneak over from Mexico, but there's like 500 other Mexicans left in the country, seems to me like we should be reunifying them to the rest of their family. But if you want to look at it through that twisted lens of leftism, fine. You're a youngster. You've been brought over here under 4 years old. You don't really know your other culture. I get it. Trump gets it. Most conservatives get it. Doesn't mean you get to jump in front of the legal folks. But I could see a place for you in a few years, in a decade, when you've learned your way around this stuff, not just taking for granted that America's here, at your behest. And that's one of my biggest complaints is, for conservatives, we see DACA as, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. And I go, no, it isn't. If they have to go through the rigor of becoming American citizens and understand how it all works, I don't have statistics to back this up, but I will bet you a naturalized citizen is a lot more likely to vote Republican than they are Democrat. And if it is equal, if it's 50-50, I'm cool with that. But then what? You got to show me that you need to be here. You got to show me you're going to be a good citizen. You can always be on the first list to be deported, to be out of here. You got to live right. We aren't going to let these people over and you're going to be an MS-13 gang leader or a drug dealer or some sort of a Mexican pimp. It's not going to happen. The lexicon. We have allowed the left to redefine things. They're no longer illegals. They're undocumented workers or just undocumented. Or even in some case, they're just citizens in waiting. No, they're illegals. And that's all I'll call them, is illegals, undocumented. What kind of name is that? You're here illegally. Do you hear my voice crack? And there's lots of other language. We talked about it a second ago. They don't want to call these people chained, the thing of bringing them over, chain migration. They want to call it family reunification. Cute name. Phyllis Schuler tweeted this: a white racist is a racist. A black or Hispanic racist is an activist. You agree? My guys in the studio agree. That's exactly the way the left does something. If it's racism for blacks or Hispanics, they're activists. If somebody burns down your city, beats people up at a rally, I call them terrorists. You know what they call them when Antifa does it or Black Lives Matter do it? They call them activists. They call them not fascist. There's another word. I can't remember the ist. Anarchist. When whites exclude people of color, it's called segregation. When people of color exclude whites, they call it diversity. They say, no, that black people need a safe space. They need to be able to segregate away from whites because they understand, blacks understand their ploy better when they're all together. But if white people do it, it's racist. They're segregating. If all the white students say, we don't want any black students in this deal. You got to be kidding. What are you trying to say? But if it's the other way around, nobody says a word. Nobody even gets upset about it. Wording is deliberate, folks. These are not slick little things just to pass the time. The transformation of chain migration to family reunification is enough to swing people. Because mentally, who doesn't want a family reunified? I mean, on a concept, it's pretty interesting. It's compelling. Who doesn't want that? I would want that. Yeah, let's reunify. But nobody thinks about it the other direction. It's unidirectional. Bring them from the other countries to here. And it doesn't matter that the Democrats, we know the game. We know what they're doing. They can't fool us. That doesn't matter. They don't care that you've been caught, that they've been caught. These are people that destroy everything they touch. They destroyed sports. The NFL's destroyed. They destroyed Halloween. They destroyed Christmas. They've destroyed the Christian religion. They've destroyed American history. It's been prostituted beyond belief. They've destroyed music and your ability to enjoy it. They've destroyed television, your ability to enjoy it without getting some stupid message from them. They've destroyed movies. Which of your actors do you like? I don't like Tom Hanks. I don't like Robert De Niro. And I could give you a list of 50 that I used to go to their movies because I liked their acting. I don't go anymore. Leftists have destroyed healthcare. They've destroyed the economy. They've destroyed your ability to say what you want to say by way of the First Amendment. They've destroyed colleges and universities. What have they touched that you go, boy, that's good? Women's issues, children's issues, the aged, veterans issues, blacks issues, Latinos issues. Name me one thing that they've touched that you go, man, look at that rock star status. They're absolute scourges on society is what they are. And they hate when you tell them that. But it's who they are. They are destroyers. Not unifiers. They don't want conciliatory discussions. They only want one thing, you to submit to their ideology, or else.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Senator, the president is giving his first State of the Union address this week, and polls show that his biggest achievement so far, the tax cuts, are now gaining in popularity as some of these big companies hand out $1,000 bonuses. Are you glad that these people have more money in their pockets?
Are we having a technical issue here?
Senator, can you hear me? All right, it appears that we have lost our audio connection with Senator Sanders. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
That was too funny. Bernie's like, excuse me, what, are we on? I can't hear. I can't hear anything. Oh, he can hear. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's a KJ Radio Show, Kevin Jackson Show. Yeah, what are we going to brand that to be? Man, we have Still got these questions. My guys are like, Kevin, should we call it the Kevin Jackson Radio Show or the Kevin Jackson Show? I'm like, really? Should we put "the" on it? It's Kevin Jackson Show. I would think you'd have to put the article, right? The Kevin Jackson Show, not Kevin Jackson Show, because it could be. There's a lot of Kevin Jacksons. Only one that's like me, but there's a lot of Kevin Jacksons. Yeah. Anyway, we'll resolve that and get back with you. Sanders couldn't hear the question, but she says the tax cuts. By the way, that was I think that was CNN. The lady said the tax cuts are, quote, gaining in popularity. Gaining in popularity. You wouldn't believe it to hear the left, to hear most of the Democrats. And let me tell you why that was a big deal, why I'm highlighting that, because I'm going to be talking about the tax cuts. Releasing the memo and some other stuff later, but we may get to the tax cuts. The reason why this is a big deal is the left is starting to report good news about Donald Trump. I want to see what the numbers are in about a month. What starts to happen? I can give you a couple. Well, we've talked about a few of them, and we got a couple coming up because we got some Cuomo quotes with Nancy Pelosi. Miss Armageddon. But these are people that are starting to push back. Why do you say that? House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. Why would you say something like that? Why are you doing this? Pelosi got contentious with was it Cuomo? She got contentious. Said, you don't know what you're talking about. We got that clip. Let's play that clip.
Wray got the director of the FBI, obviously, recently selected by President Trump. He got the memo. He could have come out and said, this is reckless, don't release it.
Let me just say this with all due respect. You really don't know what you're talking about right now.
But it did.
Welcome back, everybody. You don't know what you're talking about. I know. I'm the longest ranking, oldest member of the former security investigation, whatever. That's what they always do. That's why they love their longevity, because then they can say, I've been around here longer than you. Term limits. 2 for a senator max. Maybe 3 for a congressman. That's it. 2 for a senator, 3 for a congressman. They should not be able to live and die in these roles and feel as if I'm the only one who knows because I've got all the inside information. Well, maybe you shouldn't be. But Cuomo's asking, Ray got the memo. This is in releasing the FISA documents. And we'll come back to that because I'm going to talk about that for the remainder of the show. But the reason why I play that is I wanted you to understand the media. That was CNN. Chris Cuomo's no longer accepting of whatever they say. He's starting to question. And this is a big deal. You think he wants to question? This is a guy who believes, for the most part, what they've been telling him. And now he's having to come to the realization that, you know what? I'm going to have to start pushing back a little bit because I don't know that I'm always getting the truth. And Bernie Sanders, he doesn't want to hear the question. What do you think about the president's tax cuts? Do you think that this is that's a lady pushing back on Bernie Sanders saying, you were the one who said this is going to be bad for everybody, that, it's trillions and trillions of dollars are going back, trillions and trillions are doing this and that. Bernie loves to talk about it, but when Donald Trump, let me tell you, what really bugs the left, Donald Trump is saying to the people, like you and me, I mean, I'm not getting any money back, but, I went on taxes. But I'm saying, he's saying to people like us, what are you relying on government for? It's your money. Here you go. You can have it. And the companies, they hate this. They hate that Donald Trump was able to do something that instantly took impact, instantly took effect. I argued with a couple of lefties over the weekend, and I said to them, you guys have no idea. Donald Trump impacted American lives immediately. And it isn't just the fact that a certain number of people, like, say, American Airlines or Wells Fargo or whatever, got that initial boost, right? I mean, that little shot in the arm. Here's that $1,000 or whatever it may have ended up being in their take home. They got that. Then some of the companies went, oh, you were making $12 an hour. You're now at 15. Now, I want you to understand, $3 an hour constitutes $6,000 a year. They got raises by the thousands of dollars. It's one thing that they got a nice little salary, a nice little bonus, but then they got a raise. So two things hit their pocketbook instantaneously. Somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000. It was like, boom, shot in the arm. Then, if it is indeed, a few $100 a month. So let's say, for the sake of discussion, that it is $6,000 a year. So it's $500 a month, or $250 a month, and suddenly your check every two pay periods is $125 less taxes. So let's say it's $90 more than you were used to. And then the new tax schedules come out. And you're doing 4 deductibles and you get X amount of dollars back, and now you got another $50. So now it's $140 per pay period. May seem like crumbs to people like Nancy Pelosi, people on the left, the party of elites, the party of the big money donors and what have you. But to a guy, making a living, that's $280 take home that he or she wasn't counting on before. And that may just be his check. May not be mama's. She may be getting even more. That's the tsunami that's coming April 15th and beyond, when more and more people, start getting the cost of living, whatever the raises are, they go in. That money starts coming back. April 15th couldn't come at a better time this year, because this year people are going to get those bigger checks. And you know what happens in October and November? They start gearing up to vote. And the very people that were questioning if Donald Trump was unhinged, if he's insane, are going to be the ones saying, hey, you know what? I'm doing pretty well. Or is everybody going to switch over? Of course not. But how many people does he have to win? How many millennials got jobs that they can thank Trump for? How many of them then are getting extra money they can thank Trump for?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. You are in warrior training, whether you know it or not. And the one thing that you have to understand about being a warrior is when you go to battle, there can be no doubt. The only way you survive battle is you must believe in your heart of hearts that you are there to win. You trust your training. And winning is not always about necessarily defeating the enemy that's in front of you. It may be that your sacrifice wins the war. Everybody doesn't come out of battle unscathed. Everybody doesn't come out alive. But we still win the war, right? Let me tell you what doubt leads to. For those of you who don't understand the warrior code, doubt leads to death. You gotta make sure that you are prepared, and that means mentally and physically. Sun Tzu was a amazing tactician. I mean, that's why his book is studied by so many people, The Art of War. And what it requires is total defeat of the enemy. There's a reason why on the battlefield, when people would walk through, they go and actually stab the downed victims. Like say somebody's shot and you don't know, you're just seeing all these bodies laying around. This is a little bit morbid. I'm going to, not exactly great radio conversation, but you've seen Saving Private Ryan or something like that. Or 300. These guys would go along and they would stick their sword into the bodies of the supposedly dead. Because what people will do is they will fake dying, especially cowards. They will fake dying. I'm not saying they're all cowards, because some people want to survive because they want to live to do more. You ever see this movie where this physician, he continues running and saving people? I think it's during World War II. And he has to hide under a body. It's happened before that people that are doing heroic things will, hide out in order to continue doing heroic things. But most of these guys were hiding out because they were scared. Total defeat, annihilation of the enemy is the only thing you can settle for. Because let me tell you something, folks. The enemy is the person that you talk to every day, that you send your kids to get educated by. The people that, like this Salcido guy who said that the military were a bunch of morons, and others, Al Gore, John Kerry, people that believe military are worthless. They believe in things like global climate change so they can make money off of you. They believe in letting people in your midst that want to kill you. It's your own brother. It's your own sister. It's these people that have a leftist ideology that is not built on any core principles. It's not built on morality or ethics or anything else. It's built on ether. Vapor, as the Bible would call it. You, on the other hand, you can wage succinct arguments that in debates that have to do with not you. It's not about self-aggrandizement. It's not about you getting, or selfishness, you getting rich on the backs of somebody else. In fact, you're very much the opposite. You care about people. You want to see people succeed on their own merits. You don't believe in something for nothing. I know the way you raise your kids. I know the way I've raised mine. It wasn't about something for nothing. You earned it. And you should get to keep what you earn and determine where that money goes. Can you imagine if the government gave you a checklist of places you wanted your money to go? Where would you want it to go? I wouldn't put it in Social Security. So where would you put it? In half the crap that they finance, their little pet projects that for people that donate to their campaigns? Give me $10,000, I'll give you $1 million. What's it matter? If it's not my money, $10,000 on $1 million is somebody else's money. I'm cool with that. Kevin, that's only 1%. So? Not my money. When we're talking about trillions, 1%'s pretty good. Take my billion and run. So, these are, that is the enemy. The people who have targeted conservatives for decades. And now they're afraid. They are totally fearful. Listen to Nancy Pelosi describe this release of the FISA memo.
Very proud of Adam Schiff and our House Democrats for protecting the integrity of the intelligence community. This is a very big honor that the leader gives to the ranking member, that the speaker gives to the chairman, to be deputized to protect the intelligence for force protection of our troops, for fighting terrorism and the rest of that. Instead, Chairman Nunes has acted like a stooge with the speakers.
A stooge?
A stooge of the White House at the acquiescence or maybe the guidance of the Speaker of the House. This is not about one thing or not. This is about the integrity and the safety and our national security.
That's what he says too, though.
They have crossed from dangerously and recklessly dealing with intelligence to a cover-up of an investigation that they don't want the American people to see come to fruition.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. A couple of things that came out of that are very poignant, very interesting, and they show you exactly what the left is going to try right now. Desperation move. Nancy Pelosi says she's very proud of Adam Schiff. Why? He's protecting the integrity of the intelligence community. That's the new sell. Adam Schiff is not doing this selfishly. He's not doing this for some partisan thing. No, this is not about left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. This is to protect the integrity of the intelligence community. Slick. It would be a very slick operation if the media could help her control it. If people even halfway believe that, it would be a very slick shift. Oh, that venerable organization known as the FBI, Donald Trump's trying to destroy it. The right are doing all they can to make you not believe in the rule of law. This comes from people who violate the rule of law every single day of their lives. Nancy Pelosi and the rule of law, these are people that have put illegals, people coming into this country, over the lives of tax-paying citizens, and even worse, the military. And she has the nerve to talk about protecting of the intelligence community. And then, if you didn't notice it, she threw in the troops, the fight for the troops and against terrorism. The very people who want terrorists to come through America through the refugee resettlement program, who rejected the very same refugee resettlement or travel ban, if you will, that Donald Trump issued, that Barack Obama had issued earlier, and they want to tell you they want to protect the troops and they want to protect Americans from terrorism. That's what Nancy Pelosi wants you to believe. She's proud of Adam Schiff for that. See, Adam Schiff isn't trying to cover up the fact that the FBI, the very institute that Adam Schiff is supposedly protecting, were part of the cabal of all of the clandestine agencies, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and others, to thwart the duly elected Donald Trump. And by the way, they tried to do it before, and they continue to try to do it after. But no, they're protecting. That's what she says. That's what Pelosi says. Adam Schiff is protecting the FBI. Nunes, on the other hand, is a stooge. The House Intelligence Committee, who's running all this, or maybe it's a Senate Intelligence, I don't know which Nunes is. I don't keep up with all that crap. But here's what I'll tell you. He's a stooge, and get this. Here's the other thing that's very interesting in what they're trying to do from a strategy perspective. Keep in mind, I was a strategist. So first, Adam Schiff is protecting the FBI, the intelligence community, not just the FBI, all of it. See, because if it's just the FBI that goes bad, Nancy Pelosi is going to then say, no, this is not just about the FBI. This is about them all. And secondly, they're shifting who they want to blame. They shifted it. It's no longer Donald Trump's fault. Now, they tried that. Believe it or not, Donald Trump, he shouldn't sign this. This is a matter of national security. Let's hope he won't do it. It's that bad Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House. He's the guy. And you know why they're attacking Paul Ryan? Because he's a much weaker target. What's attacking Trump gotten him? It's gotten him absolutely nothing. Donald Trump has crushed these clowns. And so Nancy Pelosi is so fearful. They don't know what strategy to use. Oh, let's try to make it Donald Trump against the intelligence community. Good luck with that. It's already happening. Donald Trump will happily take the blame for that.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
He should stop.
You think he's not going to release the memo?
He says he's going to. He hasn't even probably seen it, but he's going to release it. In fact, he should be saying no release should ever happen without the agencies of the intelligence community reviewing and redacting from public review. Who's going to share intelligence with us if they think it's up to Nunes, not even reading the stuff and releasing?
You put a lot of this on Nunes, but that means you put it on Ryan.
That's right.
Because the speaker picked him. Do you blame Paul Ryan for what's going on?
I think that he has a major responsibility in what I call a cover-up of what they are doing. It's really very sad. But again, it's a cover-up. Also, it's a distraction. What really we are trying to do right now is keep government open. They have a problem with that because they're ineffective. And
you think they're doing this because they don't want the government to be open?
Well, I think whatever they do is a distraction. So you never know what's coming.
But that's what they say. So help me understand this. I know you can't reveal classified
information. No, I'm not.
I'm not going to push you on that, but I will push you on this one idea. It is hard. I have to believe it's hard for the American people to have faith that anybody in this city where we are right now is out for the truth.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Pelosi scared, and she better be. It's the Kevin Jackson Show, kjradio.com. We train warriors over here, and you people are out there, and you are #release the memo. And you know what? They say it was Russian bots. It wasn't human beings. And then Twitter came back and said, nope, it wasn't Russian bots. It was human beings. They want to see it. And now you're watching the gamesmanship of the left. Typically, they would win these games. They would win the PR battle. Oh, it's classified. You pay you are the reason that this country exists. And it's a bunch of elitists that say, oh no, it's too much information for you to know. You know, if you get too much information, you can't handle it. Only we, the intellectuals, the intelligentsia, we're the only ones who can handle this. And you know what that means? They're going to handle it all right. Means you're never going to see it. If it weren't for the fact that you put a warrior in the White House, you wouldn't be seeing this. Because the Republicans who are finally getting a backbone, they wouldn't want you to see it because they would have a feckless leader, somebody like George Bush, who would be talking about compassionate conservatism. Yeah, we got to help people. Compassionate conservatism, that's what we do. And you wouldn't be getting to this. Trump's like, no, let them see it. I said I was going to expose what's going on here. And I played a clip earlier. Schiff wants you to believe he's protecting the FBI. The Nancy Pelosi and the new strategy is we're protecting the clandestine agencies. We can't let this stuff get out. Then people will know how we operate. You ever seen Die Hard where Hans Gruber, and he says, don't worry about the seventh lock. And the guy, whatever, the black dude who's opening up the safes is going, look, I can open all 6 of these, but I can't open the 7th one. And he goes, don't worry. Then in fly the FBI boys, and they shut down the grid, and that's what opens the safe. So everybody knows the FBI playbook. Do you think that the agency, the people who fight against the FBI, don't have a copy of the playbook? Of course they do. They've got infiltrators. If there is no part of the American government right now that isn't infiltrated, it's infiltrated by the Chinese, it's infiltrated by the Muslim Brotherhood, it's infiltrated by leftists, complete communists. Putin has infiltrators inside of our government who blend in and look like every other leftist out there because you can't tell the difference. Tell me the difference between a communist and Bernie Sanders and people that he has on his staff, et cetera, et cetera. Tell me the difference between these suit and tie wearing Muslim Brotherhood people that were working on the servers for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Show me the difference. Look at CARE, this Islamic relations people, and show me what the difference is between them and anybody that's got a very Muslim-sounding name that worked on Obama's staff that's still in government to this day. Somebody explain the difference to this young black country bumpkin. They're scared, and they're scared for a reason. And now they're shifting gears. They want to say that this is an attack on the FBI. Okay, I'll bite. It is. because they're crooked. They were run by a crooked Department of Justice that was headed by two crooked people, Eric Holder and, even worse, Loretta Lynch. And they held court over people like James Comey and including Robert Mueller and others. And these people all colluded to get Hillary Clinton elected so we would never see anything of what we're seeing. And now they're scared. Last-ditch effort. What can we do? Let's embarrass President Trump. Go after Ryan. Ryan will then do what he's supposed to do, what he would normally do, because he's a weak-kneed sissy as well. And he would normally go, we're not going to release the memo. It's got, blah, blah, blah. It's got, clandestine, this, that, and the other, spy crap. And Trump's like, doesn't matter. Tradecraft changes all the time. Who cares? Oh, the FBI, we put in surveillance, we did this. It's going to tell people how the FBI led a crooked investigation on a witch hunt, started on a fake dossier that started with a beer conversation or a wine conversation at a happy hour. That's what made them decide they wanted to target Donald Trump to win at all cost. And now I'll ask you guys again, do you want to win at all cost? Because if you don't want to fight, get out of the way. Get out of the, people tell me, Kevin, you talk about fighting a lot. Yeah, I do. You're in a fight. It's not just, we lose the match and then we go heel and then we have a rematch and each of us go make $50 million on the next fight on pay-per-view. This is not that kind of fight. This is a fight for who you want this country to be when you leave it. Because the majority of you listening to my voice, we got what? 10, 20, 30 years? If you're lucky, you get 40. You may not even want the last 10. You may not want the last 2. Our lives are just, we're done. I don't mean that we don't have much to offer. I'm just saying we could stop doing what we're doing right now and not even miss a beat. Do you ask yourself that sometimes? You get up in the morning, you go, man, I got enough money to go on vacation, have a good time, not worry about this, eat at nice restaurants. I don't need to worry about leaving money to my kids, money to my grandkids. I could travel the world, meet new people, never meet the same people twice, never stay at the same place twice, and I could live the rest of my life that way. Probably wouldn't even run out of money. I mean, I can't say that. I'd have to work. But many of you listening, you would be able to say that. And even if it was only 10 years, you could do that, and then you'd have to come back to reality, fine. But the point is, you don't do it. You get up every day, and you come to do this. You come to listen to me. You come to fight the good fight. Why? You think you're going to have some sort of great legacy that's left? People are going to remember our names are written in history books. I don't care if my name appears in a history book, appears on quotable quotes, brainy quotes, you name it. I mean, even though we try. But I don't care. Because when I'm gone, I'm gone. And that's the end of it. And maybe there'll be somebody to carry on, but if not, I will have fought the good fight. I will have done what I wanted to do to preserve that little piece of Americana that I grew up with. And Pelosi, she wants you to believe that they're fighting for all the right reasons. They're fighting to protect the FBI. The FBI is a corrupt organization. So are the FISA courts. So is the CIA and many others who were complicit in trying to dethrone Donald Trump post-election. Many of them never wanted him. And I love how he's saying he's going to release it. He probably hasn't seen it. He probably hasn't seen it. She was definitive. He probably hasn't seen it. But he's going to release it anyway. Well, maybe he has seen it. And that's why he's going to release it. And then what'd she say? The intelligence community needs to see it so they can redact it, so they can protect us. There may be things that we don't want out there in terms of what they did in an illegal investigation. No, we want it all out there. So people know what to look for when an illegal investigation is upon them. Then, as I said, shift strategies. Make Paul Ryan the scapegoat because they're not going to get to Trump. And then what did she call it at the very end? She called it a cover-up. This chick has the nerve to switch the idea of the cover-up from the left to the right. I give you transference. I give you Democrats who claim to be the party that freed black people. Nancy Pelosi wants you to believe that the cover-up is on their part. The people who want to release the information are the ones covering it up. If that don't beat all, as they say in the country. But here's what was interesting. She called it sad. She said it was a distraction because they want to keep government open, because they've been ineffective. I ask you, has Donald Trump been ineffective? The thousands, the hundreds of thousands of people who've gotten bonuses, do you find him ineffective? But here's the bigger point. Cuomo was questioning her on every bit of it. That's the thing you need to be looking for.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.